At my first Daughters of the American Revolution meeting, I was excited and nervous. Our meeting was held at the old Santee Canal Park. In the one-room schoolhouse. During the meeting, we talked about chapters going on and had hors d'oeuvres and even wrote Christmas cards to soldiers. After the meeting, we set out for a private tour of the newly opened Fort Fairlawn. To get to the fort, the park offers nature trails with bridges and beautiful South Carolina foliage. However, we drove to the fort as the trails are quite long. Fort Fairlawn is the first Revolutionary historic site that is part of the Liberty Trail. It is noted for being one of the most pristine and intact fortifications of its kind in the country. In fact, only one other earthwork fort can be found, and that is in 96. The construction of this fort came after the British had taken control of the Low Country. From what I've read, the land belonged to a loyalist, and the British turned the Fairlawn plantation into a hospital and storehouse. In order to protect the British stronghold over the South, this fort was placed at the head of the Cooper River and adjacent well-traveled roads. In 1781, Patriot heroes Zachariah and Shelby led a surprise attack and successfully overtook the plantation hospital, wounding 150 and capturing 300. Later, the plantation was burned and the fort abandoned. When we arrived at the fort, we learned the reason the river doesn't seem close anymore is due to construction of the canal and development that over time has changed the course of the river. When you look at the outside of this fort, you'll notice a large ditch or moat, which is now fixed to support drainage. I have read that this moat once contained water, but during the tour I actually learned that it was lined with trees and was the fortress palisade. Inside the fort, you'll notice natural growth, which has overtaken the fort over time. During the tour, I learned that these plants cannot be removed because of their expansive root system, which in doing so may damage the fort. You will also see a raised area, which is a rampart, which is where the cannon once was placed. During its use, the fort also boasted a cline, which was used to forge and repair weapons. In addition, when you tour the fort, you'll notice a depression in the ground. I was told during the tour that this depression would have been much deeper before all the erosion and was most likely used to store goods, possibly even keep food cold. An interesting note that I took during the tour was that only 6 to 8 men ever manned the fort at once. They worked in 12-hour shifts and actually lived on the outside of the fort. Unfortunately, during the tour I also learned that even though this fort is newly opened, the museum may have to restrict public access. In the future, the fort may only be accessible with a guide from the museum. This would be done to prevent any future erosion or vandalism, as some people will just walk over what is now a dirt mound. It's understandable, but also unfortunate, as it may cause some difficulty in accessing the fort. During the tour, I enjoyed hearing about how Hellhole Swamp got its name and how a cannonball was found in a tree in a local housing development, and how the museum is hoping to procure a map of historic sites and Indian trails, as well as the Colleton Castle site. In addition, probably the most profound thing that I learned while enjoying the company of these ladies is how Southern history has been removed and forgotten for many reasons. These reasons include the Civil War, inability for people in the past to write, a decrease in storytelling. But to me, the most heartbreaking reason is due to prejudice against the Native Americans of the area. Even their mixed descendants were forced to hide the past in order to attend school and fit in with society. As a group, I feel that we really want to preserve our history and realize that that can only be done by acknowledging the past and spreading our love for the state of South Carolina. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it, and as always, thanks for watching.